I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Make me put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Tina. Ain't give a F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn 8 stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Akita. And exposed to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed.
Welcome in. Sean, what's up? Yeah, we got a big day, chat. If you're in the chat, say hello first and foremost. Whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, say hello. We got conference tournaments this week. We got NFL free agency is going crazy right now. So we got that going on. Mitchell, what's up? So we got a lot to talk about. I don't know. I don't know if I'm taking any bets tonight. We will run through the games tonight, but nothing is really sticking out to me, and I don't want to force anything. So we'll look through the games. Chris, what's up? Yeah, let's have a week. Yeah, this is gonna be a good week. So we'll look through the games tonight, but just nothing is really sticking out to me right now. We are going to talk about all the big conference tournaments: Big East, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12, MWC, Big 10, everything. So we're going to lay it all out there. I've already taken bets for these tournaments, and I'm going to give them out right here on the stream. So we're going to talk about those. We got the NFL free agency, like I said. It's also Girl Scout cookie season. Chat, what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie? I have a question for you. Mike is not too happy with Barkley. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Mitchell, it's a great day to be a half Eagles fan. Them getting Saquon Barkley. Dewan, what's up? All right, so here's the deal. NFL free agency, I'll react as news comes in. Obviously, we got Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. Tag-alongs for you, Mitchell. I could have guessed that. That would have been my pick for you, I think, Mitchell. Samoas are good. That's a good pick, Chris. I don't know if anyone could guess my favorite Girl Scout cookie. And do not come in here and say the peanut butter cookie. Yeah, Dewan, the peanut butter ones are good. Look, I have a sweet tooth, so all of the Girl Scout cookies are good. But I hate when people are basic and they're like, oh, my favorite one is Thin Mints. I hate that. Obviously, Thin Mints are good. I'm not saying they're bad, but that's everyone's favorite. Like, please be original. Lemon ones are okay. That's not my favorite, though. Ben likes lemon now. I like the s'mores one, man. Those are good. Those s'mores ones are good. All right. First of all, I want to know why people think Kirk Cousins is not good. Can someone explain this to me? We've had this conversation. I don't even know. This is the 157th episode of this stream. And we've probably had this exact conversation like 8 times on this stream. Why do people think Kirk Cousins isn't good? Every year he puts up consistently good numbers. I understand he is coming off an Achilles and he's older. So there's a little bit of pause with that. But every single year, this guy puts up like 4,200, 4,300 yards and like 32 touchdowns and not a lot of picks. And then people like act like he's not good. He's better than 70% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. Why do people think he's bad? That's a lot of money, but that's the going rate for a quarterback in the NFL. You're going to have to pay a quarterback. That's what it is. Unless you hit on a rookie and you have him for 4 years on your rookie deal, which the Falcons tried to do that, and Desmond Ridder was not good. So that's the going rate for a quarterback. I don't understand why people think he's not bad. He puts up numbers everywhere he goes. Yeah, I understand the maybe the big game thing, but, like, I don't even know if that's like, I would have to look up, like, his big games in Minnesota because they definitely made the playoffs at least once. They think he's bad because he loses, usually. Yeah, Austin, exactly. He doesn't play defense. I don't think he's bad. I think he's above average quarterback, and I don't think that deal is crazy. That's just the going rate for a quarterback. This happened the last time. When Kirk Cousins first got paid by the Vikings, people said, like, "Oh, that's outrageous that you would pay Kirk Cousins that sort of money." And then every year a quarterback gets paid more because it just keeps going up and up and up, and the salary cap just went up by $30 million. So by the time he got a new deal, he was like the 10th highest paid quarterback. It's just the going rate for a quarterback. I don't understand why people freak out about Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is fine. And the Falcons, I was way off them last year. You guys know I was very anti-Falcons going into last year. I was not buying the hype. I will probably buy the hype on the Falcons this year because Kirk Cousins is going to get that offense going with Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and Drake London, and they got a decent offensive line. If their defense plays remotely okay, I'm gonna be in on the Falcons next year. I can tell you right now. Other free agency, what we have Saquon to the Eagles. That was cool. I thought it was interesting. Eagles were kind of ahead of the curve of like not paying running backs, but they came out and signed him. So I thought that was interesting. Um, Yeah, I mean, I would never say no to having Saquon Barkley on my team. I know everyone wanted him to go to Houston, so I thought that was an interesting move for the Eagles. I like what the Vikings have done defensively. Um, they made some good moves on defense for Flores. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I'm assuming they want JJ McCarthy as of right now. I think the Vikings want JJ McCarthy, so we'll see what happens with that. Stephanie Wilson to the Steelers. Yeah, so I was in shout out to the Owners Box boys, T-Mac, all those guys over there, good friends with them. I was in T-Mac did a college basketball spaces last night. And there was a good amount of people in there, but we were in there talking and I said if I was a Steelers fan, I would probably just head to the nearest bridge because I mean over under 4.5 games before George Pickens punches either Arthur Smith or Russell Wilson in just Mike Tyson's him in the face. I mean, how is he going to put up with those two? Steelers getting Russ or Browns getting Judy. I don't think Russ is bad. Like I'm mostly just joking, but I mean he's okay. I don't have a problem with him. T Mac tried to come for you in your match. That's just T Mac though. He's all right. He's all right. Him and I joke around like all the time. He's a good guy. I don't think Russ is bad. But I thought that was a good move, Austin, for the Browns. Honestly, Jerry Judy, he needs a change of scenery. I feel like he isn't a contract here, so hopefully they can get something out of him. He should be motivated to play because they don't. He needs to earn a contract. So, and I read that he's really close with Amari Cooper. Obviously, they both went to Alabama, so maybe it's good to get him in a good headspace and just get him on a new team. Better option, Pickett. 100% agree, Taylor. And they really didn't have to pay much for him. So, if I'm a Steelers fan, I wouldn't honestly be that mad because I do think he's an improvement from Pickett, and they really didn't have to pay much for him. I did see that they were considering trading Deontay, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, the Steelers have proven time and time again they are really, really good at drafting receivers. So maybe they can pick something up in the draft. I ride for Swift, and I'm not happy him going to Chicago. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting move. Obviously, they still have Roshan Johnson there. So I don't know if he'll be like a complete workhorse. It'll probably be some sort of a split. Tony Pollard to the Titans. We didn't talk about that one. Was interesting when considering they have Tyjae Spears. I would have just rolled with Spears and picked up somebody cheap to back him up, but whatever. Do we think Derrick Henry's going to Dallas now? Is that kind of the consensus that Derrick Henry's going to go to Dallas, I guess? Yeah, Tomlinson never having a losing season, it's definitely at jeopardy. But I will say, Mitchell, if they somehow managed to not have one last year, it can't be any worse. I mean, they were rolling like Rudolph, Pickett. They had Matt Canada. I'm not an Arthur Smith guy, but I mean, the statistics, like his offenses have been like decently efficient when he's called the plays. So they can't be any worse than they were last year. I mean, last year was as bad as it's ever been for the Steelers, and they still didn't have a losing season. Like, I have to put some respect on that. Like, I have to respect Mike Tomlin in that aspect. Like, that's crazy. I also saw that hilarious stat that they have 25 passing touchdowns since Ben retired, and Russ had 26 last year. I think that's hilarious. All right, if any other moves come through while we're on here, we could talk about them. I don't know if there's anything else big. Gabe Davis to Jacksonville, whatever. I mean, I'm pretty neutral on that. Let me scroll through here. Trubisky, that was a disaster. Did I see he went back to Buffalo to be the backup? Is that correct? Does anyone know? I think that's what I saw. Antonio Gibson to the Patriots, pretty neutral on that. Don't really care. Oh, Josh Jacobs to the Packers. That's a big one. Yeah. I think that kind of sucks for fantasy wise because I'm assuming they keep Jones, it's going to be pretty close to like 50-50, I think, which kind of sucks for like fantasy purposes. But real life, I mean, I guess that's a good deal for the Packers. You know, Jordan Love played really, really good, so they should have a pretty decent offense. Yes, yeah. That's not a bad move for him. I don't know. Christian Wilkins to the Raiders is nice. I mean, they're just absolutely nasty defensive line. Packers cut Bakhtiari, no shocker. He'll probably go to the Jets if I had to imagine. Pittman re-signed, nothing crazy there. T Higgins requested a trade. That's the last one. Who? If you're in the chat, where do you think that he's gonna go? I was trying to think about this earlier. Oh, okay, the Packers just released Aaron Jones, so literally what I just said is irrelevant. Talks broke down and they've released him. Interesting. So maybe we're back on for Josh Jacobs in fantasy now. Higgins to Jacksonville. Yeah, that was in my considerations. Obviously, of the Trevor Lawrence effect. So I guess that's a possibility. I still think Houston is a possibility, which would be nasty if you get Stroud with T Higgins, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins. That would be a pretty good little tandem there. Carolina I mean, they need receivers like desperately. So that's definitely in play. Definitely in play. They're in dire needs. Patriots maybe could be in play as well, I guess. I would expect the Chargers to make some moves here soon as well. They need to cut some cap, so I'm assuming I don't know if they'll trade both, but definitely one of Bosa or Mack is probably getting traded. And then like Mike Williams or something too, maybe I saw, or they might have to cut him or something. It's pretty crazy how bad of a situation that the Chargers cap was in. I mean, it's pretty dire. Yeah, Washington got Dallas' center. I saw that's a good move. Dewan, since you are a Washington fan, which quarterback do you want of the three, assuming that they take one? Because I've actually seen like kind of conflicting reports. How long before the Chargers compete? They should be good right away. I mean, I'm not. At the end of the day, you have Justin Herbert, so you should. In the NFL, I definitely feel like. I mean, I'm not a GM or an executive by any means. I'm not pretending to me, but it just for me, it would make sense if I was going to try and rebuild a team. I would want to start on the offense. Like I would want to make sure, obviously, first and foremost, you need a quarterback. So I would want to start on offense with the offensive line and the quarterback, and then defensive line is very, very important. You have to be able to rush the passer in the NFL. So that's kind of the emphasis that I would put on both lines and quarterback. Chargers already have quarterback in place, so Jim Harbaugh has a big head start because he already has an amazing quarterback. And they're going to be in prime spot at their draft pick to draft Joe Alt. If they don't draft Joe Alt, I think they're making a mistake. I think they need to solidify their offensive line and protect your quarterback that is making insane amounts of money. So they should draft Joe Alt, and they should, they're going to be in games because they should be able to score points. So you should be able to, maybe the defense chokes at the end, but the Chargers defense always chokes at the end, even when they're good. So I think they should draft Joe Alt. And I don't think it'll take him long to compete, honestly. I respect Jim Harbaugh, and I think he's a very good coach. Let me catch up on chat here. Packers just released Aaron Jones. You saw that. Bo Nix steal the draft. Yeah, I'm kind of curious where he's gonna go. I'm not a huge Bo Nix guy, but I won't rule it out depending on landing spot. I think Jacobs is an upgrade over Aaron Jones personally. Yes. Honestly, I would stay with Hal, build around him. If they do draft a quarterback, yeah, assuming Caleb Williams goes first, it's probably between Drake May and Jaden Daniels, and I've seen it like split on who they like, but I have no inside information on the Washington Commanders. So I think I've seen split mock drafts. Some of them have them taking May, some of them having them take Jaden Daniels. Should be interesting. And then I don't know. I mean, I think Minnesota wants JJ McCarthy. I don't know if they'll be able to get him. He might like sneak into that top 3, which is absolutely insane. If you would have told me a year ago today that JJ McCarthy was being talked about as like the 3rd overall pick in the draft, I probably would have like just laughed in your face. Like that's absolutely insane. So I wonder where Aaron Jones will go. Like honestly, Quentin Johnson will break out. Oh man, I just can't. I can't do it with Quentin Johnston. I can't. For the Chargers' sake, I hope he does. For the Chargers' sake, I hope he does. I can't. I just can't. If you watch the stream, you know I can't. Which True Love, I know you watch the stream because you're always in here. I just can't. All right. I don't know where Aaron Jones is gonna go. I gotta think about that. T. Higgins and Aaron Jones, I think, are two interesting for like fantasy purposes. Where they go is interesting. Assuming Derrick Henry goes to Dallas, which is just whatever. I don't know. Oh yeah, I saw Austin. You said Aaron Jones to the Cowboys. That could be in play for sure. I think they'd prefer Henry, just name value. Like Cowboys feel like a team like they just want that name brand value. Like it's Derrick Henry. They don't care how old he is. He could be 40 years old and it's Derrick Henry. I still want Derrick Henry to go to the Ravens just because A, I think that'd be absolutely sick to have him in the backfield with Lamar. And B, Derrick Henry would just look so sick in like the black and purple uniform. I don't know why. I think that would just like, if you just put Derrick Henry in the black and purple uniform with like a dark face mask, he would just look sick. And he fits perfectly with like AFC North, like cold weather, just like them just running the ball. So I would still like to see him go to Baltimore. Austin Eckler, I have no idea. Yeah, if he goes somewhere else, I got no clue. I haven't even thought about it. That's interesting too. Huh. I got to think about that one. Higgins would be great in Atlanta. Yeah, I could see them getting another weapon, or even like I could see them drafting a receiver with their pick. Honestly, would not shock me. If you could get like one of those stud receivers, like if you could get Odunze or Brian Thomas Jr. to Atlanta with Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Kirk Cousins and Bijan Robinson, oh my God, that would be insane. I haven't dove into like exactly what Atlanta needs, but if I was them, like I might just do that just to do it. Like that would be sick. Yeah, this is the last chance for Kyle Pitts. I agree. This is his. I have been loyal to Kyle Pitts. I still think he can be good, but Kirk Cousins, if you don't like him, you can't ignore that he has produced great fantasy options. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. So if Kyle Pitts doesn't do it, it's over. It's over if he can't do it this year. So all right, let's dive in. Like I said, I don't know if I'm taking any college bets tonight. First of all, we didn't do a weekend recap. I absolutely smashed on Saturday. I hit Kentucky on the money line plus 280 or something, plus 270 over Tennessee. I told you guys on Stream Friday, Houston big over Kansas. They won by like 30. Basically, I was right on like 10 things on Saturday. The one thing I was wrong about was Duke. Duke is soft, and they played just spineless against North Carolina. They just got bullied. Duke is soft. So that's my take there. That was the one thing I was wrong about Saturday, Duke, but I was right about everything else. I'm trying to think like even what else I bet. I'd have to go back and look. We had a good day on Saturday. And then yesterday, just UNC Asheville. I told you guys on stream, Drew Pember stinks. I'm so sick of that guy. And I got sucked in and I bet on UNC Asheville yesterday. And they lost. And then Indiana State was just man, I should have alerted the Discord to we should have just put when Indiana State came back and took the lead, we should have just put like 3 units on Drake just in case. But of course they came all the way back and then still lost. Just a disaster yesterday. The Vikings drafted quarterback. Yeah, I seriously, if I had to make a mock draft right now, I think they want JJ McCarthy. I don't know how they get him, but I think they want him. Duke struggles with strong interior big. Yes, agree, Austin. I said in the spaces last night, if Duke plays Purdue in the tournament, it might be game of the year on Purdue. I think Purdue would bully them. And if Zach Edey gets Filipowski in foul trouble in a potential matchup, because I have seen some projected brackets where Duke is in Purdue's region. If Zach Edey got Filipowski in foul trouble and they have to play Ryan Young, yeah, Purdue would smoke them. So it might be if just keep in mind if that bracket comes out and Duke and Purdue somehow match up at some point, it could be Mega Max bet on Purdue. Like I think they would destroy Duke. But I think like Kentucky, I tweeted it on Saturday. I want Kentucky versus Purdue. I think that would be such a good matchup. That would be so fun. I have no idea where Fields ends up. As of right now, I think he might just, I don't know if they're going to take a quarterback and he's going to be the backup or what. I have no idea right now. Because I think the 2 likeliest spots for him were Pittsburgh and Atlanta, and they both just, filled their positions. So honestly, right now, I think that they're going to just keep him as a backup, I guess. I don't know. I'm the only person that gives content that has this take, but I would just trade that number 1 pick and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and roll with Justin Fields. I could be wrong. I'm the only person that says this. Everyone is just head over heels for Caleb Williams. And I'm not even saying Caleb Williams is going to be bad, but I don't know. I'd rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. personally, but I'm literally the only person that has this take, so maybe I'm wrong. You agree with me, Dwan? Thank you. Okay, I'm not the only person. Stephanie agrees too. Oh, okay. So the smart people in the chat are agreeing with me. Thank you. Like, I don't know. Do we really think is Caleb like people? I think people are forgetting like how good Justin Fields was in college. Like Justin Fields was like almost as good. Like he didn't have the Heisman's, but like I mean, he put up crazy numbers in college. What's the difference? I think he played good enough down the stretch. Like if they had a line and then you have like DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. and then you pick up extra picks by moving down, like I don't know. I would try it, but everyone I know that's like a Bears fan tells me like I'm an idiot. So I don't know if they're biased because it's their team or what. It's so easy for quarterbacks. Yeah, I agree. Caleb Williams wasn't that great. Yeah, I don't. I'm just not sold on him, Stephanie. I don't like his like. I don't like his vibe. I think it's tough to have that vibe as a quarterback, but maybe he'll prove me wrong. I don't know. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams though personally. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know. If anyone in the chat likes a bet tonight, let me know. We can talk about it. There was like a few spots. I think Weber State is interesting wherever they're at right here. But the line moved. Like if I could have got this at 5.5, I might take it. Now it's at 7. I definitely think they're better than Montana State, and I think that they're going to win this conference tournament. So I do like Weber State a little bit. Um, I mean, obviously, I think St. Mary's and Gonzaga are going to win, but those spreads are too big. I don't like to take big spreads in tournament games usually. So there's just nothing really that like sticks out to me. I want to like James Madison, but Arkansas State's kind of electric and played them really, really tough in the regular season. So I mean, you can see very public side James Madison, but the lines come down almost 2 points. I can definitely see it being a close game. So that's my hesitancy on James Madison, even though I do think that they probably win the game. Wemby triple double. I don't hate Wemby triple double. Wemby blocks is kind of been a wagon too. All right, I'm gonna pull up FanDuel and we'll look at these conference tournaments. All right, let me zoom in here. All right, we're going to go through the big ones and we're going to go through in order. So if you guys like any teams in these conferences we're going through, put in the chat, but I'm going to do my best to break this down. Let's start. I said this last week. I like Florida Atlantic in the AAC. It's a terrible number. I get it. But, I was on Florida Atlantic on Saturday. That was another one over Memphis. I think this FAU team is going to win this conference tournament. They've played much better recently. Specifically, Vlad Golden has played very, very good. Memphis had no answers for Vlad Golden on Saturday. I mean, he just dominated them in every aspect of the game, offense and defense. And if he's playing like that with the shooters that they have, everyone on their team can shoot. And they have multiple players outside of Vlad Golden. They have multiple guards when you talk about Elijah, John L. Davis. Like those guys can take over games. They have elite shooting. All starters, all players on the court can shoot. And then they have elite guys down low in Vlad Golden. Their backup big man is not very good. But I think they're a complete team. They went to the Final Four with this exact same team last year. I think there was a little bit of just staleness to the team when they first came back. But I think they're going to win this conference tournament. And I think that the fact that this is a loaded conference. Memphis, SMU, South Florida, North Texas, Charlotte, UAB. These are all even some of these other games. These are good teams. So the fact that they're only plus 165 is telling to me. And they got a really, really good draw because like Memphis and South Florida are on the other side of the bracket. So I think basically FAU is going to they're probably going to play SMU, who they've beat this season. And like maybe a Charlotte. Like that's what they're going to have to go up against. Like they're going to miss Memphis and South Florida and play one of them in the championship, which I like as well. So I really like Florida Atlantic in this conference. I think you can parlay it with McNeese to get a better number. I told you guys that McNeese is winning that conference tournament. So the odds on FanDuel are not great. If you do a parlay on FanDuel, it's plus 226. If you do the same parlay, FAU and McNeese on DraftKings, it's like plus 280. So do it on DraftKings if you're going to do it. But I really like FAU, and you can put them with McNeese to get a better number. So that's my thoughts there. A10, I have not taken anything here. I'm not sold on Dayton. I don't love them. I'm not sold on Richmond. I don't love them. I think Loyola Chicago is the best team in this region, but they just beat Dayton like recently, which I don't like. And then VCU won this last year, and they've played really, really well recently. When VCU's been fully healthy, they've played exceptional basketball. And they had even last week, Shulga was missing games. He came back, and they were up on Dayton the entire game. I think that was like last Friday. Or last I don't remember what that was. It was last week sometime, but they were up on Dayton the entire game and then just lost in overtime. But VCU won this tournament last year. They've been great when fully healthy, so you can consider them. At the end of the day, I think Loyola Chicago is the best team in the conference, though. So if I was going to play one, I would play them, but I'm probably avoiding the A10. ACC, obviously, the odds. I don't like the odds in the ACC. We talked about this last night in the Spaces a little bit. How are Duke and UNC both under 2-1, but I get no good numbers on anyone else? I don't understand that. Like when we go down to the SEC, all the teams in the SEC that I'm interested in have really good odds. But then in the ACC, I'm just getting nothing on any of these teams. So I'm less inclined to take anyone in the ACC. Gun to my head, I think it'll probably come down to Duke or North Carolina. I don't know if Duke can beat UNC, though, honestly. I mean, UNC handled them in both games. And now, I mean, I guess it's hard to beat a team 3 times, but I just don't. It just might just be a bad matchup for Duke. I don't know if they could beat them. So the one team that sticks out to me, I do think Pittsburgh could get hot a little bit, but I like Clemson. I like their route in the bracket. I like Clemson's team. I wanted to take them to win the national title in like December. I didn't. But they were playing really good basketball early season. I think they have a really balanced team. They can shoot it. They have multiple guys that can take over a game and get hot in a tournament setting like this. So Clemson at 10-1 sticks out to me as my favorite ACC bet. And I think that's worth a sprinkle. I'll be posting all these in the Discord after. So, if you're missing the stream or something, you don't have time, I will post them all in the Discord after this. American East, don't care about Big East. This will be a really fun tournament. This is my favorite conference tournament every year. I've been in love with this tournament since Kemba Walker. I love the setting at MSG. There's just something about the Big East tournament that's just so fun. So Creighton and UConn are on opposite sides of the bracket, so we could get a potential rematch. They just played recently. Creighton beat them. Creighton is on Marquette's side, and basically all these other good teams are on UConn's side. Marquette should have Kolek back for this tournament, I'm pretty sure. So that factors in a little bit, but I think top to bottom, Creighton is a better team than Marquette. I just don't love the number. UConn, I've fought it all year. I don't think this UConn team is as good as last year's team, but they just keep bullying everyone they play. They just keep running through anyone that comes in their path. So it's kind of tough for me to take anyone here. I think we talked about this last week, but a lot of these teams need wins to bolster their tournament resume, like Villanova, St. John's, Seton Hall. These are all bubble teams right now. There's no guarantee that those teams are in the tournament. So they really, really need strong performances in this Big East tournament to secure a spot in the Big Dance, even if they don't win the tournament. And Seton Hall and who plays Seton Hall plays St. John's in the first game of the tournament. So one of them is going to be out right away. And if I had to make a pick here, first of all, I don't understand why this Villanova team isn't better than they are. I've tried to figure this out all year. They started to go on a run the last few weeks, but then, I mean, they tried to come back against Creighton, but they didn't have it in them. So I don't know. I don't understand why Villanova's not good. I'm trying to pull the bracket up on my phone so I can see this, but there's one team I like, and it's Rick Pitino and St. John's. St. John's played really, really good recently. Like I said, they got a tough draw because they're going to have to beat Seton Hall, and then they're going to have to play UConn and beat them. But when they played UConn in MSG earlier this season, it was I think it was in December or January. They played UConn at MSG. They only lost by 4 points, and they were actually winning late in that game. Danny Hurley and Rick Pitino absolutely hate each other, so they're both going to be up for that game. It's basically a home game for St. John's and UConn both. Like it'll be a lively crowd if we get that St. John's UConn matchup. So is Nova's coaching outdated? Yeah, they don't have a good coach. Ever since Jay Wright left, they do not have a good coach. So I think coaching is probably the biggest issue, to be honest with you, because they have a great team of players. So I don't understand why they're not better. So I don't really want to take any long shots on any of these teams. You could sign me up for anyone in this range. From UConn to Seton Hall, you could sign me up. But I like St. John's at 13-1. St. John's, make sure you shop around these lines, these guys. I'll try my best to note it off the top of my head. Like the FAU McNeese parlay pays much better on DraftKings. St. John's is only 8-1 on DraftKings at 13-1 on FanDuel. So if you are interested in St. John's, make sure you grab that on FanDuel because you're getting significantly better odds. But I like St. John's. Hopefully they can make a run. I think that it would be really, really unfortunate if we have an NCAA tournament without St. John's and Rick Pitino in it. So I'm really hoping that they make a run in this Big East tournament and get in the big dance. Big Sky, don't care. Okay, Big Ten. I'm coming around on Purdue. I like them this year. I faded them the last few years. I think this Purdue team's really, really good. So if you just asked me to pick a winner of this, I'd probably say Purdue. In terms of the value picks, I think Ohio State is the only value pick you can make. They're 5-1 since they fired Chris Holtmann. Coincidentally, the one time I bet on them in that stretch was that one loss to Minnesota. Shocker there. Stephanie, if you're in the chat, you know this love-hate relationship that we have with this Ohio State basketball team. But 5-1 with wins over Michigan State, wins over Purdue. And I kind of like their draw because I'm pretty sure they're on the opposite side. Let me pull the bracket up here. If I'm remembering correctly from last night, I like their draw. Because I think they're on Illinois' side, which I think I'd much rather play Illinois than Purdue before the championship game. Yeah, so looking at this bracket, you've got Purdue on the top here. Purdue's got a pretty easy path, I would say. So they're going to play the winner of, I don't know, Purdue has an easy path from what I'm looking at. But Ohio State's going to go up against Illinois, and then the winner of, like, Nebraska, and we'll say, like, I don't know. I don't even know who they'd play. I guess like Indiana. It's going to be like Indiana, Nebraska, and then the winner of that plays the winner of Ohio State and Illinois if Ohio State can beat Iowa. So I think for a value pick in the Big Ten, Stephanie's gonna frown. I hate this Ohio State team, man. I do. But I think they're the best value pick. They've played really good since the coaching got fired. They have good guards, and Jamison Battle's a flamethrower. They have guys that can shoot. They have depth. I definitely think that Indiana looked good against MSU today. I take that back. Their big men look good. Yeah, Ware's pretty good. Ware's probably gonna be a lottery pick if I had to guess. Indiana, I don't like their coach, and I don't really like them bringing him back. But they've played hard the last 4 games. Shockingly, they could have just completely bottomed out and gave up. So looking at this bracket, I'm assuming Nebraska is gonna play I think Ohio State can take Iowa in that first game. Have we been on the correct side of OSU all season? I don't think so, honestly. I don't know if it's been one time. Even if Iowa wins, Iowa just played Illinois, I think, and lost. But I think the winner of Ohio State, Iowa can take Illinois. What if we locked in? T-Mac, what's up? I was just talking about the spaces last night. So far, what do we got here? I did take Clemson in the ACC, which I know you like as well. I like FAU. I know people are down on them. I'm going to parlay FAU with McNeese, and it's plus 280 on DraftKings. So I'm going to do that, and I took Clemson. And I took St. John's in the Big East. So now we're talking Big Ten. If I'm taking a value pick, it's Ohio State. I think the winner of Ohio State, Iowa can take Illinois for sure. I much rather prefer playing them than Purdue. and then they definitely can take Nebraska. So the path to the championship is much better down here than having to play Purdue. I think Purdue's probably going to walk to the title game. And I'm just not scared of Illinois. I'm just not. I'm just not sold on them. I think Terrence Shannon's a baller. Coleman Hawkins is good, but I don't know, like, defensively if they can get stops down the stretch. Like, they've really struggled on the defensive end at times this year, specifically recently. I mean, they were a trendy pick to beat Purdue when they just played last week, and I mean, it was a close game, but ultimately at the end, they couldn't get enough stops. So Ohio State or Iowa is the value, I think, because I think either of them could beat Illinois, and I think either of them could beat then Nebraska, assuming that's who they play. So that's my thoughts on the Big Ten. Not sure if I'll even play it, but it would be Ohio State or Iowa for me. Iowa is like motivated as ever because they are not going to get in if they don't win this tournament. They did not win enough. Like, they really needed that win over Illinois, and I don't think they're going to get in unless they win the Big Ten tournament. So, all right, Big 12. Interesting enough, Houston. Let me check on DraftKings if it's still like this. Houston was like minus 130 on DraftKings last night. So if you do like Houston, make sure you take it on FanDuel, assuming that it's the same because you're getting better odds here. Let me see. Yeah, so Houston's minus 135 to win this tournament on DraftKings, and they're plus 100 on FanDuel. So if you like Houston, make sure you take them there. I won't be betting that, but I do think Houston's the best team in the conference. Kansas, I'm not touching because I don't know about Dickinson. Baylor, I'm just not sold on. Iowa State, I think, is good, but I don't love it. Let me pull the bracket up. There was one team that I think is interesting. All right, so here's my thoughts. On the bottom of the bracket, where we're avoiding Houston until the title game, you have Kansas. Like, Kansas would have a good path if Dickinson was playing and they were like fully healthy. So I could understand being interested in there because you're not going to have to play Houston until the title game. But with the Dickinson stuff, I'm out. I kind of like Texas. So I can't quit this Texas team. I've been waiting for them all year to turn it on. They do have Asmus who can take over and get hot. Dessou, there was questions about his health, but I mean, he played over the weekend again on senior day and did fine. They won the game, beat Oklahoma or whatever. So I like Texas. On DraftKings, you can get them at 30-1. So Texas is going to play Kansas State in the first game. I think they win that. Then they're going to play Iowa State, who I think they can beat. And then I don't know who they're going to play, like Baylor. Like, I guess that, like, in theory is a tough path, like playing Iowa State and Baylor back-to-back games. But I still think I'd rather go that route than have to play Houston. Like, I'd rather save the Houston matchup for the championship. And they took Houston to overtime earlier this season when they weren't playing as good as they are now. So I kind of like Texas at 30-1. I just think it's a big number for an experienced team. But that's my thoughts on the Big 12. Iowa State, the number's just not good enough for me to play, and I'm not sold on Baylor. So I'll just opt for Texas at 30-1 on DraftKings would be my pick in the Big 12, but Houston's probably going to win. Coastal Athletic Conference, don't care. Conference USA, I guess we could talk about this, but I just don't really care about this conference like whatsoever. If you force me to pick someone, I don't know. I would say La Tech, but I don't know. I don't like how they've been playing. They just lost to Sam Houston State the other night, so I don't know. Pass on there. Mountain West. I will just tell you guys right now, this is my favorite conference. I'm not betting it because I just don't know. Like, all these numbers are close because literally anyone can win this tournament and nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. So I'm not taking anything here. The bracket is a mess. I could literally see down to Colorado State. Any of these teams can win, and I would not be shocked. So there's just no reason for me to bet on it, and you're not even getting crazy value on any of them. So this is my favorite conference, and I'm excited to watch the games, but I will not be betting it. Pac-12. Let me pull the bracket up. I have not taken anything in the Pac-12 as of now. Does anyone know? Has anyone seen news on Cody Williams? Does anyone know if he's going to be playing for Colorado? I think that's important because Colorado has been exposed by Arizona when they've played this year, but they're on opposite sides of the bracket. So Colorado is going to play the winner of Utah, Arizona State. I think they win that. And then they're going to play the winner of Washington State and either California, Stanford, and I think they win that. So honestly, Colorado has a really, really easy path, in my opinion, to the championship game where they're presumably going to play Arizona. And Arizona has beat the shit out of them both times they played this year. So that's my pause there. But the analytics love this Colorado team. They've got some decent wins down the stretch here, even without Cody Williams. Like a win at Oregon without Cody Williams, that's impressive to me, for sure. And I really like their path. I think they have an easy path, honestly. Like I definitely think they can. They're gonna win their first game, and I think they can handle Washington State if that's who they play. So good path to the title game. The problem is if you just wait until the title game and they play Arizona, you're going to get like, they're probably going to be like plus 250 on the money line just anyways. So I don't really know if you like need to take this number, but I'll go with Colorado right now for my Pac-12 pick. Like I said, McNeese, you can parlay this with whatever else you want. I don't care how square it is. They're not losing that conference tournament. And I'm pretty sure it's like home games for them also. I'm pretty sure. So they're not losing. All right, let's finish up with the SEC. And like I said, this is where all the good numbers are. This is where all the good numbers are. This conference is loaded. Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, Alabama, Florida. These are all really, really good teams. And any of these teams can win this conference. Tennessee, I think, is the best team. And then I would say it's a split between Auburn, Kentucky for 2-3. And then Florida, I would put 4. I think Florida's better than Alabama. They just beat them. I think top to bottom, better team. Florida's great guard play, much better defensively. So I like Florida a little bit at 16-1. But the two teams I really want to take, and I have taken these already on my accounts, South Carolina and Texas A&M. So the numbers, first and foremost, are significantly better on DraftKings. Do not take these on FanDuel. South Carolina is 60. I think they were 65-1 when I took them last night. They're 60-1 on DraftKings for South Carolina. And Texas A&M is 50-1 here. They're 100-1 on DraftKings. You're getting double the odds on DraftKings for Texas A&M. So go to DraftKings if you want to put these in with me. South Carolina at 60-1 and Texas A&M at 100-1. Texas A&M is a super frustrating team, but they have great guard play, and I just think that's too high. 100-1 is just too high of a number for Texas A&M, in my opinion. So I think it's worth a sprinkle just off the number based alone. South Carolina, I actually think, has like an objectively decent path to get to the title game. And we've talked about it on the stream. People have discredited this South Carolina team all year. But at the end of the day, they play really, really tough. They're great, really well coached. Really well coached. And people have discredited them all year. Great is an overstatement on who? Oh, wait. Oh, on Texas A&M? Yeah. Maybe they're not great. I don't know. 100-1 is just a crazy number at the end of the day. If on DraftKings it was 50-1, I wouldn't even bet it. It's just the fact that it's 100-1, and that's insane. All right, South Carolina, they're going to play the winner of Vandy and Arkansas. I think they can win that. They're going to play Auburn. I'm not sold on Auburn. I need to see it from them in this tournament. They've struggled against elite competition this year, and I definitely think South Carolina could win that. And then they're going to play Tennessee, who they split with. So we know they can beat them. That's still a gauntlet of a path, having to beat Auburn, Tennessee, and then still having to win the championship game. But they've proven they can beat these teams. And I mean, end of the day, like they might win the coaching battle in like most of these games. I'm not a big Bruce Pearl guy, and Rick Barnes is like, whatever. On the bottom of the bracket, Florida is going to beat whoever they play between Mizzou and Georgia, and then they're going to play Alabama. I just said I think Florida's better than Alabama. Even though they just beat them, I think they could beat them again. So then they're going to play probably Kentucky. That's a tough one for me. That's a tough game. Florida versus Kentucky, I don't know. But see, the problem for me with betting Kentucky would be Kentucky's 4-1 and Florida's 16-1. Obviously, Florida has to presumably play Alabama, and that's why the number is that big. But I objectively think Florida is a better team than Alabama, and I don't think that's an insane statement. They took them to overtime in Tuscaloosa, and then they just beat them on their home floor, and it wasn't even a close game. They spanked them. So you're telling me that if we get a Florida versus Kentucky semifinal, and you're telling me I have basically 16-1 on Florida to beat Kentucky, because if you get a team to the title game, it's an easy hedge. Easy hedge when you get a team at over like 10-1 in a title game, it's like so easy to hedge that. So if you're telling me I'm getting basically 16-1 on Florida to beat Kentucky, it's the better bet in my opinion. So Florida would be my pick if you want someone on the bottom of the bracket, and I like South Carolina just for the number, and I like Texas A&M just for the number. But I really think Florida can win this tournament. I think Florida's a really good team. The problem is Kentucky's just red hot. And I know they can't stop anyone on defense, but I mean, oh man, they're just so good. They're so good, and Reed Shepherd can completely take over a game. Dillingham can completely take over a game. Even Reeves, to an extent, can take over a game. But when you have those two guards that are just both stone cold killers, like we've seen it multiple times, like they should have lost that game against Mississippi State on the road. And Reed Shepherd just was like, I'm not losing this game. And they easily could have folded and lost to Tennessee, and they just didn't. They've proven that they're a good team. The questions were really, really out about Kentucky after they lost to Gonzaga at home, but they have responded. They've played their best basketball of the season at the right time. And most importantly, Kentucky, unlike Alabama and Auburn, Kentucky has played their best basketball against good teams. Outside of that Gonzaga loss, they have wins over elite competition. Like against top like 30 or 40 KenPom teams on the road, they have a number of wins. They won at Tennessee. Let me pull up their schedule. Like they're like the inverse of Alabama and Auburn. Let me see here. All right. So obviously they went at Tennessee. They have that win at Mississippi State. They have a win over Alabama. That was at home. They've that big win over Auburn on the road. Auburn is historically good at home, and they went in and kicked their ass. Trying to see non-con. They also have a win at Florida, which was a close game. They beat North Carolina when they played them. So I don't know. Kentucky's played good against big teams. I don't know how motivated they are for this specific tournament because they're already going to be like a decently high seed. But I think Florida is probably the best value pick in the SEC. Stephanie, you asked about the MAC conference. I don't see the odds up here on FanDuel, so let me pull up DraftKings. I haven't watched as much MAC this year as I did last year. Last year, I mean, Stephanie, I know you're in the Discord. Like, we were just smacking off Kent State. Kent State made us so much money last year in their last few regular season games, and then we bet them in the conference tournament to win it. We bet them multiple times, like just straight up in their games in the conference tournament, and they won. Obviously, they beat Akron, I think, in the championship game. Okay, so here's the odds. We have Akron at plus 155, Ohio at plus 330, Toledo plus 340, Kent State I'm not interested in, Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan, West. I'm not interested really in any of those teams. I think it's probably a 3-team race between Akron, Ohio, and Toledo. I think Akron's the best team, and Freeman is just an absolute stud. Obviously, that's not a great number, though, plus 155. So I would probably just wait and see. You like Akron too, Austin? Yeah, I think Akron top to bottom is the best team in the conference. So maybe if you want, you could do Akron with McNeese, like I said, on DraftKings. Let me see what that pays out. Plus 232, so it's like a little bit better. But I'd probably just wait and see like what you can get during the tournament. Like if you just bet Akron every single game, like you might get a better return. I don't know. Plus 155 is not great. But I think it's a 3-team race. Akron, Ohio, and Toledo would be the 3 teams that I think are really in contention. I don't like this Kent State team, and I don't think any of those smaller teams have a chance to win it. Maybe there could be like some upsets, but do you put any playoff futures for NBA? I have not put anything in yet this season. We did do a futures draft at the FSGA conference though, and I have who did I take? I think I have Dallas. I have Dallas and someone else. I can't remember. But I haven't taken anything for NBA yet. Just put in FAU, McNeese, Purdue, Houston, tourney win parlay for fun. Yeah, it's fun to parlay like 3 or 4 of the winners. I did that a couple times last year, and I think I did hit one of them. It can pay pretty well. But overall, to recap, McNeese and FAU parlay I like. I like Clemson in the ACC. I like St. John's in the Big East. Purdue's probably going to win the Big Ten, but if you want a value, it'd be Iowa or Ohio State, whoever wins that game. Big 12, I like Texas for a value pick. Pac-12, probably just not taking anything there. And then SEC, Florida, South Carolina, and Texas A&M. But the numbers are all better on DraftKings, so take them there. If I see you on their opponent, I'm just going to hedge for one of those teams. I can just tell you right now, I'll be betting FAU every game probably in that conference tournament because they're just rolling. So I can't see myself unless like FAU gets the championship game. I'll hedge then, like with whoever, like because they'll be favored probably slightly over Memphis or South Florida, whoever they match up with. But I can't see myself betting against them. McNeese is not going to lose. Like the spreads are going to be big, so I probably won't be betting on them, but McNeese is not going to lose. Purdue, maybe. Houston, maybe. I guess it just depends on what the matchups we get and stuff. Don't know if I'm taking any bets tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. We have day basketball tomorrow, so you can see there's already some spreads up for the early games tomorrow. Starts at 11:30 a.m. Davidson, Fordham, UCF, Oklahoma State. We got LaSalle, GW, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. So these will all be going on like while I'm on stream. Cincinnati, West Virginia tips off while I'm on stream. So same time, same place tomorrow, 3 p.m. And I'll definitely have some bets for tomorrow. Did you watch UFC fights? I watched the O'Malley fight. I didn't watch anything before that, but that was pretty good. I'm not a huge UFC guy, but I'm trying to like get into it more, I guess. I don't know. I still feel like it's tough to bet on because the people that score the fights just rig that shit. You'll never convince me that they don't. You'll never convince me they don't rig those fights. Not rig, but like it's influenced by the people scoring it, and I just don't like to bet on that. But I guess like the same can be said, like the games are influenced by referees. So I guess maybe I'm just an idiot because that doesn't even make any sense what I just said. But all right, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll be giving out bets for tomorrow's games. I definitely will have some stuff for tomorrow. So tune in for that. If you want access to the tools, Moneyline Predictor, Total Predictor, the tournament's coming up. If you want to see what the numbers are and what our projections are for the money line totals, we have the live trends tool, which I use on the stream every day. And then obviously, I throw my betting card in the Discord every day as well. Betkarma.com/pricing. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We had really good viewership today, and hopefully we can continue that tomorrow, 3 p.m., to give out some best bets for some day basketball tomorrow. Good luck with your wagers tonight, and I'll see everybody on Tuesday.